Welcome to Lip Gloss and Trail Dust, the official podcast of Joyrise Coaching, where healing meets habit and growth gets gritty. I'm your host, Joy, wellness coach, trauma survivor, mountain climber, and unapologetically real woman doing the work right alongside you. This isn't just a coaching podcast, and it's not just a space for wellness tips or feel-good quotes. This is where we talk about the full truth, the patterns we're unlearning, the habits we're rebuilding, the trails we hike, both outside and within. Around here, we don't pretend transformation is linear. We don't sell preset plans. We walk with compassion, we rise with intention, and we build change that actually lasts. From navigating trauma, motherhood, faith deconstruction, and burnout, to strength training, soul work, and summit prep, this podcast is where we bring all of it. Because the messy middle is the sacred ground. Whether you're rediscovering your body, reclaiming your time, or remembering how to trust yourself again, this space is for you. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing. This is Lip Gloss and Trail Dust. This is Joyrise. Let's rise. Hello, I am Joy, and welcome to my podcast where I am going to talk about Joyrise Coaching and the Joyrise method today. So a little bit about me. I grew up in the fitness industry. My mom was a competitive natural bodybuilder when I was a child. And so I literally grew up in the gym and eating healthy and working out and watching my mom compete, and she was quite amazing. And I always really wanted to be like her. And when I grew up and became an adult, I had children. I had 3 babies, and after having them, I struggled with a weight problem. And after a couple of years, after having my youngest, I decided to utilize what I knew from my mom, and I lost weight, and I gained muscle, and I changed my life. And then, women around me wanted to know how I had done it. So I shared with them, and I noticed that it seemed to be really inspiring and that I enjoyed helping people. And so I decided to become a certified personal trainer, and I worked in that field for a few years, and I really loved it. I loved helping people. I loved being in a gym all day, every day, and working out and learning new techniques and learning how to use kettlebells and TRX and lifting really heavy with the barbells, and then turning around and teaching those skills to my clients. And it was a lot of fun, and I really am appreciative of that experience and that opportunity to grow as a person, as a trainer, as a mother, at the time as a wife. But there were some downsides, and I'm not gonna super go into those now. I'll save that for another time. But there were downsides, and those downsides in combination with a very difficult time of my life, I lost my passion for training. I didn't lose my passion for fitness and health and wellness and growth and mindset, but I did lose my passion for training people in a gym. And so I switched gears and I went into the office world again. And I always kind of thought my passion for training would come back. But a few years in, it still hadn't come back. And so I thought, it was gone for good. And I did my best to accept that and just move on with my life and accept that office work was in the cards for me. I did my best. And throughout the years, anytime that anybody asked me, hey Joy, can I ask you a question about my workouts? Hey Joy, could I ask you a question about foods? I always lit up, and I always loved it, and I enjoyed it, and I was just like, yeah, and I'd get so excited, and people would ask, like, you obviously love this, why aren't you doing it? And I was just like, I don't know, I just don't want to, but I really love helping you. I didn't understand it, but it was what it was, and I'm a big believer in trusting God, trusting the process. And so that's what I did. And I just kept, striving at my office job and being as productive as I could and just trying to convince myself that I loved it. But eventually, I burned out. There's a lot of factors that go into the burnout, and I already have a blog about that. So you can check it out on Substack, Joyrise on Substack, if you want to read my burnout story. And I might eventually talk about it on here as well. But long story short, I experienced burnout at that office job. Did my best to get through it and stick with them. But in the end, I decided that there needed to be a change. So I got a different office job at a private Christian university. And it healed something in me that I didn't even know needed to be healed. It helped me to slow down and reconnect with myself. And at first that was very difficult because I am not good at slowing down. But it has been very good for me. It took a while to adjust to it and for everything in me to calm down and be okay with slowing down and having a little bit of a quieter life. I'm also an empty nester now, and that I had the same adjustment with that as well. And so over time, I just grew to like the quiet and to at least accept the slower life. I was also doing a lot of hiking because I was training for a big hike. And hiking gives me a lot of time to process my thoughts and my feelings, and I really get a lot of clarity. And so all of that hiking in combination with the slower work life, I began to feel a spark. And then one day I was going down a rabbit hole that I don't even remember what the rabbit hole was. But it reminded me that during the pandemic, I had signed up for the Certified Wellness Coach program through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I signed up, I paid for it, and I never did it. I never even touched it. And then I remembered that, and so I logged into my account, and because I hadn't touched the course, it was locked. So I had to request for it to be unlocked. And while I was waiting for it to be unlocked, which took like 2 weeks, I was poking around, and I remembered that I had completed a behavior change specialist certification. And so I decided to refresh my memory of what that was. And that spark grew to a flame. And the more that I refreshed my memory, the bigger that flame grew until it was burning so bright. And the passion just came flooding back. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. Yes, this is the path to go down. Like, this is what I was missing when I was a personal trainer. coaching is where it's at, because coaching is about the whole person and everything that surrounds the change and not just the change itself. And I was just like, yes, yes, yes. And so I started thinking about the things that I loved about being a trainer. And some of the things that I loved was connecting with my clients on a personal level, learning about their lives, slowly over time allowing them to learn a little bit about me, intuitively creating workouts for them on the fly, because they would walk in and be like, oh, this is hurting me today. And so the whole plan had to go out the window, and I had to just think in the moment. And just drawing on my intuition and my knowledge and trusting myself. And when we would have the opportunity to talk about more, I would treat them. I would treat the whole person instead of just their specific goal, because I always knew it was about more than that. And so I drew on that, and I drew on the behavior change specialist certification, and I thought, if I could do this my way, nobody telling me how to do it, while still staying within my scope of practice, how would I do it now? How would I coach people now? And that is how the Joyrise method came to be. And so the Joyrise method is based in intuition. It is trauma-informed. It is science-backed by the trans-theoretical model, aka stages of change. And it is designed for treating each individual as the holistic person that they are. And it's based on a 4-phase method. So first we center. We ground ourselves in honesty. Honesty with self, honesty with the coach. We align. We reconnect to our values that will support our life. We rise. We take meaningful action with support and structure. And then we claim. We own our growth, and we live aligned with who we are and who we are becoming. And so, coaching with me, it's not one size fits all. I don't create a plan for my clients. My clients create their own rise path. I help them with their rise intention setting. RISE stands for realistic, intentional, sustainable, and expandable. I guide the clients. They choose their path. And then I walk with them along their path. And I celebrate their wins with them. I help them identify and overcome their barriers. And we walk this path together. And it's a beautiful, wonderful experience. The Joyrise method is really designed for anybody, for any change that they want and need to make in their life. However, the people that I feel the most passionate about helping are the people who need to reconnect with themselves, whether they've gone through a divorce, they've lost a loved one, they've experienced burnout, whether professionally or personally or both. They've experienced trauma, or at the very minimum, very difficult things in their life. Helping people reconnect with themselves, learning to trust themselves, learning that self-care is essential. Helping people find their voice, helping people stand up, learn how to set boundaries, learn how to speak kindly to themselves and believe the kindness that they are speaking to themselves. Learning how to trust and validate their feelings and hold them gently. How to speak truth to negative thoughts. That is what I love. And a lot of people don't realize that all of that is so important when it comes to achieving any sort of goal. And so, if any of this is resonating with you, then I encourage you to reach out to me. My contact information will be in the notes. I would love to have a conversation with you. See if Joyrise Coaching and the Joyrise method would be a good fit for you. And even if it's not, I would love to connect. So please reach out, and always remember that you don't have to hustle your way to healing. Let's rise. If you want to learn more about Joyrise Coaching, you can find me on Facebook at Joyrise, on Instagram at Joyrises, on YouTube at Joyrise Coaching, and on TikTok at Joyrise_coaching. Come say hi, send me a message, or just follow along. Wherever you're at on your journey, you're not alone. Let's rise.